Halo Infinite Season 3 is here, and it kinda won me back. I'm still more on the side of cautiously optimistic, but it's better than what I was before, because honestly, following the wait for Season 2 and finally seeing its roadmap, I was basically done with the game besides hopping in here and there. So after a near year-long hiatus, what's actually got me excited to play Halo Infinite again? By the way, it's raining where I am right now, so if you do hear a little bit of background noise or something, hopefully the music and stuff covers it up, but that's why. Hopefully it's not too much of a problem. Also, by the way, I just got a new mic, so if you hear any weird clipping or volume issues, I'm still getting used to it, and that's why. I'm so sorry about that. Let's start with a quick summary of the overall content we're getting in this update. Season 3 comes with 3 new maps. 2 Slayer maps and 1 BTB map, a new game mode, a new weapon, a new piece of equipment, and of course, a new battle pass along with a few other things. So let's dive in here. When you open up the game, you're greeted with a recap of what's happened in the multiplayer story so far. And I know this shouldn't seem like a big deal, but other live service style games really don't do a great job with onboarding new players or catching up old players, making the story aspect kind of irrelevant at some point if you stop playing. So it's nice to see they took the time to get players invested into the story again. Well, to be honest, not a lot has happened, but I still feel caught up nonetheless. This leads into a new cutscene, which actually piqued my interest. They seem to be taking their story seriously to a degree, and it was actually kind of an interesting cutscene. Not just some people show up and do some general soldiery stuff kind of a deal. We then get one more cutscene showing our player character interacting with the other characters, even being gifted the new weapon of the season by one of them as a thank you. This is such a cool way to actually tie the story and the game together, and being able to have my Spartan there makes me all the more invested in it. And I hope to see more of this as we get more story content from this game. Finally, there's a teaser showing the paint getting blasted off a door and revealing the Oni logo, implying there's more to all of this than meets the eye. Again, they seem to be taking this multiplayer story a lot more seriously than I would have thought, from the more cerebral cutscenes to the emphasis on your character to teasing elements that I know will get players excited. I just hope they can keep this up. After starting up the game, you're told about the not 1, but 2 free armor cores you get with this new season. I know this was introduced in the winter update, but to actually get a new armor core with the start of a new season without having to pay for a battle pass, it's different. And it was made even better when I realized there's a free event going on right now which awards armor pieces for the main new core. If you want to win players back, this is how you do it. The core by itself doesn't mean too much because you'd only be able to do so much with it without buying the battle pass, but essentially giving us some armor as well in an event we can play while leveling up whatever battle pass we so choose is honestly a really good gesture. And this game still has one of the best battle pass systems I've seen, simply because of the fact that you can level up a battle pass whenever you want with no expiration date. It doesn't mean the battle pass itself is perfect, but it's still a very nice touch. Okay, but what about the actual gameplay though? Well, the new maps play rather nicely. They each feel distinctly Halo to me. Slightly complex maps with weird layouts, verticality, and other little gimmicks to them. The Cliffhanger map has lots of interesting verticality to its layout and open spaces for you to get some more long distance kills with. And I love how Chasm takes advantage of the things found within the campaign, using that section that had all the floating stuff and incorporating it into a multiplayer map. Again, just making the map really weird and just different from other FPS experiences, giving it the Halo touch. I haven't played the new BTP map Oasis too much, but I'm really liking the different aesthetics on this map. It doesn't just feel like another UNSC or Banished base. The desert with some small watery areas and a little base thing tucked away into the back of the map is pretty cool. At first, I thought the new game mode Escalation was just going to be Halo with gun game, but boy was I wrong. Team Escalation starts everyone with the same loadout. Once a team gets enough kills, that team all moves on to the next loadout. All of the loadouts are themed around something, like melee or snipers, and you kind of collectively race to see who can reach the final loadout first and win. It's a really fun game mode if I'm being honest, and I really wasn't expecting much from it at first. The only problem I have with it so far is sometimes you move so fast from one loadout to another, you barely even get time to use the last one. We'll get one loadout, and then within seconds, we're already 1 kill away from getting the next one. So maybe increasing the score a little bit so we aren't constantly switching weapons would be nice. Okay, and how about that new weapon and piece of equipment? Well, for the equipment, the shroud screen is pretty fun. I haven't spent too much time with it, but being able to break line of sight while also kind of providing cover, unless the person gets real lucky and hits you through the screen somehow, is really useful. It also looks really cool too while you're inside the shield. It's really interesting to use in objective game modes. Being able to protect a flag carrier while they're in a pretty exposed area, or confuse everyone for just a few more seconds while you're playing oddball, makes for some really interesting plays. I'll have to see how it holds up over time, but at the very least, it's fun. As for the bandit, well, let's just say I'm impressed. I have a video going over the DMR throughout all of the Halos and how this one stacks up to it coming sometime soon. So if you want to check that out, do yourself a favor and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you can be notified as soon as the video comes out. So because I'm going to be going over it in detail there, I'm not going to be going in super in depth in this video. But I can say it feels like a DMR, just made for the Halo Infinite experience, which is exactly what I was hoping for. With the way so many weapons and weapon categories get altered to fit the very fine-tuned weapon sandbox that Infinite is going for, I was afraid the Bandit would get the same treatment. Like it would be reminiscent of a DMR, but it isn't a DMR, just this game's version of one. But I can say, after getting some time with it, it feels like, and looks like, a DMR. Like, it's basically Reach's model without a scope, as far as aesthetics anyway. And it plays like a DMR should, rewarding pacing your shots to get those perfect precision kills rather than just spamming it. And it's one of my favorite additions in this update. I do wish we get to spend a little bit more time with it though, since because it's a power weapon, there's a lot of factors that can kind of affect whether or not you get to use the thing and for how long. But the update doesn't stop there. They've also added the community playlist to multiplayer, featuring popular and well-made Forge maps in a legit playlist you can play and earn XP in. That was my biggest issue with the winter update. Custom games in Forge are fun, but the main reason I play Halo at least is for the standard multiplayer. And I didn't want to have to constantly deal with the process of joining lobbies, and low-key how broken that is, or dealing with what rules or game modes the host wants to use at a whim, what maps they put into rotation, etc, etc. So it's nice to still get the benefit that Forge maps can provide of adding to the overall pool of maps without having to deal with all the other stuff. I just hope 343 don't become too dependent on community-made content like they have in the past, but that's a topic for a whole nother time. Anyways, it's cool to get even more maps and some really good looking and fun to play ones at that to add to the overall bulk of this update. There's a lot of small changes too, from the background while you're waiting for a game being all bright and sunny now, allowing you to get a good clear look at your Spartan. A new background has been added to the campaign menu, which looks pretty cool. You can customize things while the match is loading, and so much more. All in all though, this update feels like an update. No more one map or waiting for big features to come on some far off date. We get all of this content from the moment we log on, and it feels like a substantial addition that was made with care. It feels like a proper post-launch season. With Forge and the custom games browser finally being in the game, this is the state Halo Infinite should have been in a year ago or more. But it's good to be here now. I'm just hoping they can keep it up, because that's really where everything lies. This is nice, but can they do it again and again? Look, if Infinite has another season like this in 3 months, then despite its flaws, I'll pretty much consider it a pretty good Halo game again, and have a legitimate reason to not just keep this on my hard drive, but to possibly play it routinely, not just return to it from time to time. But if I can't say that I and so many other players won't go back to just not touching the game for another 6 months, because we can't count on this game to deliver what it promises. I just know for right now, it at least has my attention again. I'm cautious, but hopeful, and at least have a reason to keep Halo Infinite on my hard drive again. So what do you think of the update so far? Have you gotten to try out the Bandit or the Shroud screen? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, a like or sub to the channel would be appreciated. It helps the channel out a lot. As always, I'm Parker Fox, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.